Good morning, everybody. Welcome to TED Talks Ball. We've got a special Tuesday morning edition, a special Behind Enemy Lines edition. I'm here with Charles, aka Super Champ Chuck. You may also know him as at CPen for the win. You can find him there on Twitter X, also on YouTube. He has a YouTube channel, so make sure you like and subscribe. Also, Charles, it didn't look like you'd set that up. If you want to go ahead and add that in when we have a free second, there's a little thing up in the corner that allows you to do that. Sorry, I should have mentioned it before we went live. But Chuck, how you doing today? Tell us anything I may have missed, anything you'd like people to know, anything you want to promote, shows coming up. We can do that now and or at the end of the show, too.
That's cool. Just want to thank you for having me on first and foremost. Just going to enemy territory, just seeing how the chat gonna be, and on this side, you know what I'm saying. I know you guys have been looking forward to this rematch from a few years ago, in regards to the Super Bowl for a while now, and now we're here. As far as me is concerned, as far as my shows go, this Thursday we're gonna be going live. Tomorrow we got Tell the Truth, which is a smaller platform on Kingdom Cast. So we're gonna be having that as far as our Super Bowl coverage. So
I was saying, sorry, I had it on mute there. I had just gotten over, like, we had family had like fever and cold that went through the family, and now the cold is back. My son came down with it. Now I am too, so I got some congestion. So I may mute myself from time to time, but should be good to go for the show. Well, thanks for joining, Chuck. So you're the second member of the Kingdom Cast that's come behind enemy lines here. Earlier this week, let's see here, I had one of your pod mates, you might say, and I'm just struggling for his name for here at the moment,
yeah, my
but
guy DG.
yeah.
Yep, at underscore keep it prolific. He's on the Tell the Truth side of Kingdom Cast. So yeah, you had him on there not so long
Right
ago.
on. Well, he was a lot of fun. I had a good time with him. I had Lexi on. I had Alex Collins on yesterday. So I actually think you're my fourth Chiefs expert, whatever you want to call it, fan, super fan, content creator. But thanks for being here. I appreciate it. So let's see here. We got Red Jet Shell in the house saying hi, chat. Welcome, Red Jet. Thanks for being here. And I'm sure other people will join in soon. Feel free to, ask us questions, share your thoughts, tell us what you think. Especially if you think we say something you disagree with, let us know. We're not looking for an echo chamber here or everybody say, oh, you're great, you're great. Like, tell us your real thoughts and what you're thinking about the game. But as far as the game goes, obviously, like you said, the 49ers have been waiting for revenge since Super Bowl 54. We kind of had our chance at it in the 2022 season, but, we didn't have Brock Purdy as our starter back then. CMC had just arrived. He had only had about a practice and a half with us. And a lot of our players were back in playing, but they were maybe came back a little early, playing hurt, not quite 100%. So it really wasn't, I think, a good, um, showing of what this, team is going to be like here on Super Bowl Sunday. And obviously the Chiefs are a lot different too. Your guys' defense has improved or whatnot. But love to get your thoughts on sort of what you think about the matchups, where you see advantages for the Chiefs, disadvantages for the Chiefs, advantages for the Niners, that kind of thing.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna start off with this. Offensively, the one thing that we have been struggling with all season long is scoring points in the second half. I know that continued last week with the Ravens. I would have loved to score more points, but the thing is, like, this season has been defined by Steve Spagnuolo. Like, as long as our defense has been playing well, we haven't really had to worry too much about scoring in the second half. Now, could our record been a little better if we had done that? Yes, but at the end of the day, we're back here. So hopefully in this matchup we'll find a way to be much better in the second half and actually score some points. I feel like we got to score some points against you guys in order to take it home. So, I mean, I guess that'd be like a weakness just to start off, but a strength that I could see in this one, just like defensively. I saw some of y'all film against Green Bay and Detroit in the playoffs, and you guys haven't fared too well against the blitz. Like, it's like a 5-man rush, and it's simply on that right side. Like I noticed y'all having little issues with that right guard over there, so I mean that could be a weak spot for you guys right there. Because Spags, he loves to dial it up on the blitzes, whether he sends five, whether he sends six. He'll have it look one way, then it'll look a different way after the snap. So that's one advantage we have defensively. Now offensively, I seen that you guys let Aaron Jones get off. Y'all let that tandem of Gibbs and Montgomery was able to get off in the run game. So with Pacheco's running style, the way he runs the ball in our interior, like even if we don't have Joe Tooney again, Nick Algrady, he stepped up and we didn't really miss a beat when he was in there. We played very well last week against Baltimore. So I just feel like we can get to the second level and have some success in the run game. I know you got secondary, Ambry Thomas. I know that's been a thing. He's been struggling over there on that side. And then I know you guys got one of our former Chiefs over there too, Travarius Ward. And like we're very familiar with Travarius Ward because I mean the times I've been to training camp and watching them practice, I saw Patrick kind of make foolish. You know what I'm saying? But I'm sure Travarius going to give the guys pointers for you guys on how to like maybe contain them, slow them down, um, know what type of style of play Patrick is, and what type of reads he makes. What he does when he extends the play. But it's just difficult. You know what I'm saying? But you guys offensively though, I think y'all can have some success in the run game. It has really shown it for real in the playoffs statistically so far. But you guys run the zone scheme, and with a guy like Christian McCaffrey, it's tough to stop. You know what I'm saying? I think our linebackers are gonna have to really buckle down and stay in their gaps and help out that D line. So that could be advanced for y'all. If y'all get the ring game going, y'all might have some success with play action. But again, like just like you guys have adjusted well in the second half of games, we've adjusted well in the second half of games as well. So it's gonna be a good chess match.
Yeah, there's definitely some areas of concern for both sides. I would say um, Niners have not done a good job of setting the edge against the Packers and against the Lions. And like you said, the running backs had a lot of success. I would expect Pacheco to do the same. Part of that is Cleveland Farrell has been injured. And Chase Young is really more focused on going after the quarterback than he is about tackling running backs or setting the edge. And so Clint Farrell is not really like, an impact player all the way around, but with setting the edge he is. And so that's something we miss. We obviously are missing Hufanga also. And Jair Brown, our rookie, came in and played really well at first. But then later on, he started to look a lot more like a rookie, taking bad angles. He's a lot like Hufanga in that he's a big hitter. They're both slow track speed, but they have fast football speed due to playing with anticipation. They're both good blitzers, both ball hawks. But with ball hawks, they can tend to get burned a little bit too. So, Ambry Thomas is a weak spot. He gave up 3 huge plays to Green Bay, and then he hurt his ankle against the Lions. So he may not even be 100%. Those are kind of our 2 biggest weaknesses on defense, other than maybe Oren Burks, our third linebacker. But yeah, I mean, as far as Pacheco goes, excuse me, I don't think that the Chiefs O-line is as good as, say, the Lions or maybe even Green Bay overall. But like you said, that interior offensive line with Allegretti, Creed Humphrey, and Trey Smith is outstanding. And, the advantage that you guys will have is that Patrick Mahomes threatens us deep, which will keep the safety back out of the box. And he's a threat to run, which means one of the guys in the box will probably have to have eyes on him to spy him. And that takes basically 2 defenders out of the box against the run, which is tough to do with a hard runner like Pacheco. So I think he'll have some success for sure. I think Kelsey will, maybe Rashee Rice too. For me, like the big X factor is Marquez Valdez-Scantling, MBS, because early in the season and most of his career he had issues with drops. then in the last two games, he's had two huge catches to salt away the Bills and Ravens games. So if he makes some catches, that could put you guys over the edge. Or if he doesn't, it could be enough for us to make up the difference. Maybe we'll see.
Yeah, I got a question for you. You did mention Travis Kelsey, right? And
Yes.
I do, and I saw that Sam Laporte was able to have some success. They was able to have some success last game against you guys, just from an individual stat standpoint. Now, Travis, he is one in discussion for one of the best tight ends of all time. People said he was starting to fall off. Now you see there is a little bit of a drop off. I mean, after the injury he suffered earlier in the year, I mean you can just tell there's just a little bit of a drop off. He hadn't scored in a while. Then all of a sudden he had to remind people that he's still very good. Now, are you guys kind of concerned with the linebackers? Like, don't get me wrong, Warner and Greenlaw, they're definitely in discussion for best duo in the NFL as far as linebackers go. But like, are you guys concerned that you may have to deal with Kelsey for the most part, or how do you guard like as far as like how do you use your linebackers and safeties as far as like guarding very elite tight ends or very good tight ends?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard people suggest, oh, let's just spy Mahomes with Dre Greenlaw and then cover Kelsey with Fred Warner. But the problem is Fred Warner is also really good at like darting in through the offensive line to make tackles in the backfield against running backs, and so you would lose that if he was covering Kelsey. Um, a lot of times we would put Jimmy Ward on tight ends, but he's not a Niner anymore. He's a Texan. He left during the offseason. Um, I don't think we trust Jair Brown to do it in coverage. Maybe Tishawn Gibson, but he's a free safety, so it's hard to have him down on the line covering somebody, maybe as a bracket, where you put him over the top of somebody weaker. Um, but I don't know. I don't know how you cover Kelsey, man on man or zone. It just seems like he's going to get his no matter what. He's a force to be reckoned with, obviously. Um, Paul Hope in the house. He's coming. He's a 49ers Faithful UK. He's the vice president. That's their flag up there in the corner.
Nice.
I was saying hi to you and saying hi to Red Jet Shell.
What's going on, Paul?
Everybody, make sure you check them out. Give them a like and subscribe. They're great folks. And it's a little bit later over there in the UK as well too. It's about 5:15, so he's probably getting ready to sit down for dinner before too long over there. But yeah, as far as matchups go, yeah, I mean, I mentioned on defense, Ambry Thomas scares me. Jair Brown a little bit. Oren Burks is our third linebacker. He can be had for sure in the base package. And then I guess if anything were to happen to anyone, or if Ambry Thomas wasn't 100% and couldn't play, then you might see Logan Ryan or Isaiah Oliver in there. And either of them are easy pickings, I think, as far as just not up to snuff in coverage. And or well, with Logan Ryan, it's in the run fit. He had some terrible missed tackles in the Packers game. So that's sort of it for the defensive side. For the offensive side, we obviously have incredible weapons. I think the best weapons in the NFL. But you mentioned O-line as being a weakness. Yeah, right guard Feliciano is not a great pass blocker. And McKivitz, our right tackle, is not a great run blocker. So that's an area of weakness for us too, especially if for some reason we went back to Spencer Burford at right guard, who's our second-year player. Feliciano has just been better, and I hope we stick with him. So we'll see. And then I guess another thing I always mention about Purdy is he's, we love what he brings mentally. All offseason, even when I was called a Purdy hater, I said he was a mental giant. I just said that he was limited with his arm, with his height, and his top speed. And he still is, but it seems like he's been finding ways to play around that. He's had a lot more deep passes and a lot more long runs than he had last year, and more than I ever thought I'd see from him. But one of the things we love about him is his poise. his ability to keep his eyes downfield when all hell's breaking loose around him. But sometimes when all hell breaks loose around you, you need to pay attention to that too. Otherwise, you can get hurt, or you can get a strip sack, or just a regular sack. And so that's one issue. He doesn't really have. You talk about veterans get that internal clock where it's like 1, 2, 2.5. Let's see what's coming. Take a look around real quick before throwing downfield, and he doesn't do that a lot. He is very elusive if he does feel the rush or see it. He is hard to catch, at least at first anyway. And but it's just getting him to take a look can be difficult sometimes, or sometimes he doesn't do it. So yeah.
Yeah, I seen that Brock Purdy like when I went back and watched the Green Bay Detroit film. I seen that like in the first half, mainly in the first half for the most part. Just a little bit of second half, but like you saw him make a few predetermined throws, like he was gonna throw to the spot no matter what, and it was in danger of getting picked off for time to time. Like you could have had a few more interceptions than what was displayed on the stat sheet. So like I would say for him against our DBs, I mean that's kind of dangerous because I mean technically, really, we should have had two All Pro corners. Like if you really watch football, like Jared Sneed was arguably the best this season. Like the only receiver that had over 50 yards on him was Devontae Adams during the year. But like we got an All Pro slot corner Trey McDuffie, and then Jalen Watson. He's been playing well too, in like the past 7 weeks or so. So like these DBs, they really get to the ball, man. So like I think Brock Purdy's gonna have to be a little smarter with his decision making this time around, because our young guys mainly on defense, some offense, but mainly on defense, like they just played in the Super Bowl last year, so they already got experience. They already know what it's like to be on a big stage like this. So I mean that'd be one thing to look for, is regarding Bryce Purdy.
There you go. And oop, okay, good. I just want to make sure I still wasn't on mute. But yeah, I mean, and it's kind of interesting. I saw some people saying, "Oh, well, Sneed will cover Ayuk, and whichever one he doesn't cover will, or whichever wide receiver isn't covered by Sneed will get covered by McDuffie." But if McDuffie is a slot corner, nickel corner, then Ayuk and Debo are boundary wide receivers. So I don't think McDuffie will be on either one of them very much. So it's
Hmm.
interesting that you mentioned Watson. Tell me a little bit more about him because I obviously know Snead and McDuffie, but I don't know as much about Watson. He's new? Is he a young player or what's his story?
Yeah, he was one of our rookies last year. He was a late round draft pick, coming out of college, but he pretty much got thrown to the fire from the beginning for the most part, and he's been pretty solid. But I know he's the guy that gets targeted the most. But he's held his own for the most part. Like I'm not saying you can't throw on us at all. Like sometimes you can have some success, but for the most part, Jalen he's actually improved as far as like his coverage, like his footwork, and more so like the biggest thing I've noticed with him is he's improved as far as like being able to get his head around the ball better in comparison to last year. So he's 6'2". He's long. He's long. He's kind of rangy. So
There you go. Good to know. And that will make life tough to have three tough corners by the Chiefs. Obviously, you've got Chris Jones on the defensive line, along with Karloftis. Um, no Charles Omenihu, though, so that's probably a bonus for the 49ers. We remember just how good he was. He was here last year, and I think about half the year before. And I know he was one of your guys' pressure percentage leaders or something like that. Like when he
mhm.
was on the field, he had the highest 2.7% pressure rate or something like that. That was pretty good for the Chiefs D. But do you think he's a big loss? I mean, I've heard some people say he wasn't that good against the run, but I mean, is that really what you guys used him for anyway?
He basically as when he got through his suspension, he came back. He was just there for pass rush situations. But as the weeks have gone by, he's played more. He's been a little more active out there. So basically, he's treated like a starter really, because I know Mike Dana when he was in there, he did a pretty decent job. But a menu just takes the defensive line's game to another level when he's out there. Now we do have a first round rookie in Felix, FAU Felix Anadike Uzoma from Kansas State. Now it's rumored that he may get a shot in a few pass rush situations. So, I mean, we don't know that for sure. I mean, we don't know how that's going to play out, but I'm sure Spag's going to do something like have Leo Chanel on the edge at times. And heck, you might see Drew Tranquil on the edge at times too. So Spag's going to get creative with it, and I think he'll figure it out.
There you go. Yeah, he's a hell of a defensive coordinator, no doubt. Reggie Shaw said Brock has to think clear and quick on every snap. No doubt. Paul Hope says, I think we see a lot of 21 personnel. The Chiefs defense has struggled against that at times. You can tell he's from the UK because he spells defense with a C, not an
Yeah.
S.
Hmm.
So, yeah, with 21 personnel, that is something Kyle likes to run a lot of, where you get Juszczyk and CMC in the backfield, and then obviously Kittle, Debo, and Ayuk. And then basically whoever is lined up on our backs as a linebacker, you try to move them out into the slot, motion them out into the slot, and get the linebacker out there in space all by themselves without any friendlies. And it's usually a disadvantage in coverage for those linebackers. So I tend to agree that I think we'll see some of that. Some of the Chiefs folks I talked to did say that uh, while you guys have really good linebackers, maybe pass coverage isn't necessarily one of their biggest strengths.
Yeah, you may be able to get us in the passing game, and it's like I'll say this: Willie Gay, at least he's athletic. Leo, he's athletic, but he's probably gonna be playing more of the defensive line this game, more than likely, since to kind of fill that middle void. So it'll basically just mainly be Bolden, Gay, and Tranquil. But I know Tranquil has been our best pass coverage linebacker. So when he's had to come in and like dime packages, so dime quarter, how you want to call it. He's been pretty solid in that area. So, but we can be had in that area to an extent. But I know for us offensively, we've been running a lot of 12 and 13 personnel just because our receivers, we didn't really perform well this season receiver wise. Like we led the league in drops, and there was times when those drops were crucial, like drops that could have kept us in alive in the game, or it could have been momentum changers, and we didn't see it come through. But it hasn't been an issue so far this playoffs, and hopefully it continues.
There you go. Makes sense. Yeah, I've heard. I mean, obviously you got Noah Gray, who's really good, and then who's the third one? Who's more of a blocking tight end? I always forget
Blake
who.
Bell.
Blake Bell. Yeah, solid tight end room there for sure.
I'll say the one
Um,
thing I am concerned about against you guys. I am concerned about Debo because you guys pretty much line them up all over the field. You know what I'm saying? Like whether you line up in the backfield, where outside the wide receiver. Sometimes you put him in the slide too. Because Debo, he's pretty much a Swiss Army knife. And I know we played something similar to that, like twice. We played against Tyreek Hill, but Debo, he's a little more physical. He's a little more stronger, so he has the ability to actually run the ball at the backfield and take some more of those hits. And like I know we deploy like too high safety coverage majority of the time. Like we did like 70% of the time, and Debo is pretty good against too high safety coverage. So like if Sneed's gonna be on IU for most of the game, I mean, this could be an opportunity for Debo to maybe get his a bit in this one.
no doubt about it. Yeah, he's not as fast as Tyreek, but he'll run through you since he can't run by you as easily.
Yeah.
A lot of times the play ends and he's not on the ground, whether it's whistled dead or he goes out of bounds or whatever the case may be. Got Curtis here, CB Nuttree in the house. This is an interesting matchup here. Curtis will be on, I believe it's tomorrow on Wednesday. Yeah, tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 Eastern. So make sure you come and check us out. He's great, no doubt about it. We've been going back and forth for years on the timeline, and sometimes we disagree on things. He was thinking that Brock was great a long time before I was, and Brock, I'm not gonna say he's great still or elite yet, but he's definitely getting closer and closer to that. So some of the people that were early on it, props to him. but I will say, like, I needed to see more, and I'm starting to see some of it. So I'm getting closer and closer to using the E word with Brock Purdy. Just I'd like to see. I've said he's had an elite play this season, but there was not long enough periods, and there were too many down periods in between. But as that gets better and better, I get closer and closer to saying it. So we'll see. Roger Chell says, I think if their weaknesses are exploited, the Niners could capitalize off of it. Yeah, I think, run game is one. I mean, we obviously, Christian McCaffrey led the league in running, rushing yards. He's also a great receiver. It's a great 1-2 punch against the two high safety shell to have CMC and Debo back there. Kittle is obviously great over the middle of the field, and Ayuk is just a great route runner. He led the league in yards per catch. I think he had like 18.7 yards per catch or something crazy like that. So, but like you said, with Snead on him, I could nullify him to a large extent. We'll see. Curtis says C-Pens needs to stay away from this game. That's all I got to say about that. Oh, you bad luck? Is that the thing?
Okay. Oh yeah. I don't know if you're familiar with a few years ago. Okay, so I went to playoff games in the past with the Chiefs, and every time I went to the playoff game, we lost. But I was like, I wasn't gonna go to this particular game, and it was the Texas game when we came after 24-0 to win that one.
Oh
And I
yeah,
was
I
like,
remember that.
and I was hyped for the game, and I was like, man, forget it. I know we're gonna win this game, so I decided to go. And when it didn't start out well, I was like, all right, man, I'm gonna listen to y'all this time because people had told me to leave the stadium in the past, and I left the stadium, recording myself leaving the stadium, just let everybody know I'm serious. I'm actually leaving. So we're gonna see what happens. As soon as I got home, we finally scored, and then we went on a tear, and then all of a sudden my phone blows up. I get all these interviews, Sports Center, NFL Network, Good Morning America, Canadian news stations. Like it went crazy. Like it was a crazy time for like about a month. So yeah, they called me Bad Little Chuck after that.
Ah,
So
so that's the
yeah.
part I didn't say. Um, well, if we got to get you a ticket to Vegas, then clearly, I mean, I think the Niners need to start a GoFundMe, make this happen. It's not too late. Got to
Yeah, sure. Why not?
get this boy there. Absolutely, Allegiant is calling. Oh, that's
Nah,
funny.
but I went to the playoff games last year and we won the whole thing. So be careful.
Ah, okay. Maybe it was just a one-time thing.
Yeah.
Paul Hope says 500 UK faithful will be at our official watch party in Leeds. Super Bowl is 11:30 p.m. for the folks over in Great Britain. So almost midnight kickoff. So they'll be going until 2, 3 in the morning before the game's finished. That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know how UK does it, man. Like that's just that'd be kind of weird, like having to watch a game at midnight, like live at midnight, and staying up till 3 o'clock in the morning. It was like I don't know how fans of UK do it, but salute to you guys. So
Lots of coffee, I guess.
has to be.
Curtis says, bro, stay away, bro. Well, like you said, you went last year and it worked out. Which game did you go to last year?
Went to the Jaguars game and the Bengals game in the playoffs. So I was out
There
there
you
for
go.
both games, and we won those.
That's huge. Joe Burrow, that's no easy feat, no doubt about it. Jags just coming off that huge comeback win against the Chargers the week before. That's wild. Paul says we never miss a game. So Paul was actually out for the Bucks game with the 49ers Faithful UK, and they got this section of Levi's called the Gold Mine, reserved as a 40-person section. So there's 36 people from Great Britain. There was me and two other content creators from here in the States and one of their buddies. And so it was 4 Yanks and 36 Brits, and we had a blast watching the Niners beat the Bucks. Paul, you can see the picture in his avatar. He's wearing a CMC jersey.
Mm-hmm.
CMC scored first. It was in our end zone. I think every TD was in our end zone that day, which is wild. And every Niners TD, that is. And it was, a lot of these guys' first ever live NFL touchdown. And so it's pretty cool that he's wearing the jersey. It was CMC. He got to see it. And we were sitting next to each other. And it's not often you get to see someone's first ever, they're cherry popped, if you will, with their first ever NFL touchdown live at a stadium, especially at our age. I mean, I'm 53. Paul's, I think, well, I won't say how old, but I think in his 30s. But bottom line is, it was a lot of fun. And thanks again to the 49ers Faithful UK for having me. More like 5 a.m. finish. Well, that's after all the partying and celebrating. You guys got to celebrate for a couple hours after we win, right? Of course. So, what are the Chiefs worried about from the Niners?
Oh well, I mentioned a little bit earlier, like Chris McCaffrey and Debo. I mean, those two simply. I mean, George Kittle, yes, yeah, yeah, worry about him too. Like, listen, like you gotta worry about the entire Niners offense in general, because for what I've seen, I mean, y'all kind of similar in a way to the greatest show on turf back in '99 with the Rams, because you got Chris McCaffrey, he's your all-purpose back, like Marshall Faulk was. You got your Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt, Isaac King combo with Ayuk, Samuel, and Jawan Jennings. And people forget Jawan Jennings, man. He be converting them third downs. Like you sleep on them third downs, he'll come through. And
Yeah, we call him Third and Juwan.
yeah, basically. And then George Kittle. I mean, he's way better tight end than what the Rams had, but I mean, just in a way, like they're just dangerous in that way. So, and then Brock Purdy, he got the great storyline. He was a very last pick in the NFL draft, came out of nowhere, originally a third stringer. Now he's taking advantage of his opportunity, and now you got to complete the storybook, write the final chapter. So,
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and Kurt Warner, he wasn't.
he's working at grocery store.
Exactly, he wasn't Mr. Irrelevant. He was undrafted, so
Yeah.
even bigger of an underdog story. And everybody, like so many people are crying about how Brock Purdy. Everybody loves an underdog story, except for when it's Brock Purdy. I'm like, well, that's because we're the bully. It's because while Purdy is the underdog, the 49ers sure aren't. Even in this game, we're favored by 2.
Right.
It opened, I think, at 1.5, dropped to 1, and then went up to 1.5 and 2. And it seems to be holding steady there. I guess I should double check that as we're going live here to make sure I'm not giving bad info.
Yeah, because I know it opened at 2.5 in the beginning, then it's kind of dropped.
Oh, really? Okay.
Then it came back up a little bit.
There you go. Yeah, it's still holding steady at 49ers -2.
Mm-hmm.
Paul was saying he's 43. Okay, so late 30s, early 40s. Got it. Curtis was saying that Chiefs have a lot of fans in the UK as well, very loyal fans.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. I mean, that's what happens when you're the champs, man. Everybody want to hop on the bandwagon when you're the champs. So
That's true. That's true for sure. James Drenall in the house said when the most slappable face Nick Sirianni was right on your fan base, you guys arseholes is something weird going on in the world. Gotta get loud. Vegas, you go. Ladybug, Love and Bastards. Okay, so there's a lot going on there. So he's saying Nick. I don't know. I can't ever side with Nick Sirianni, James. I got to tell you, I'm not a big fan of his or the Eagles or their fans. I think the Eagles fans are the worst. I definitely had some bad interactions with Chiefs fans following the last Super Bowl. We were in 54. And Chiefs kind of grew to be one of my more hated teams, but like nowhere near the Eagles or Cowboys or my most hated Seahawks. It's just hard for an AFC team to really go that high for me on the hated list. But they're on there. They're my only AFC team, I guess. So other than the Raiders, and I feel more sorry for the Raiders, especially now in their first postseason game, and the end zones are painted with their most hated division rival and their most hated, big brother from the Bay Area that kind of made them move away twice. The Raiders fans have got to be hating it for sure. But we definitely got to get loud. The ladybug, you probably know, was from Ayuk. He said he had a ladybug before that day before he made that crazy catch. Some people are calling it the immaculate deflection. Some people are calling it the Ayuk fluke. Another one that seemed to be pretty popular was the BA ricochet. But so now there's just ladybug stuff all over my timeline of people buying ladybug jewelry, or like, oh look, I saw ladybug, and they're like, it's been going crazy ever since the Lions game on 49ers Twitter. So that maybe help explain some of that. But
That's that's funny because Ayuk, that was a hell of a catch by Ayuk. That was a
yes,
hell of a catch.
it was. And people beat up Purdy because you know, it went to the DB first. But I was saying,
Uh-huh.
like, the DB interfered with Ayuk. They threw the flag and then they picked it up once they saw he caught it. And like people are like, oh, he's entitled to his position. I'm like, yeah, he's entitled to his position, but he's not entitled to like put his hands around the front of his shoulder pads from behind and then push off, to get position. And then he was in position that Ayuk probably would have been if he was unimpeded. So I think it was a really good throw. Just all that happened. But bottom line is, yeah, incredible catch and super lucky too. A lot of skill, a lot of luck. And sometimes you need to be a little bit lucky, no doubt. And James Renall also is coming to us from the UK as well too. So welcome, James. And then he says, bumped into a Chiefs fan in Millsboro. He's more insufferable than the Cowboys.
Oh man.
You don't even say that. Ask your team now.
Hey
But
man,
every
a lot
team,
of people hate it.
every team has bad. Every team has bad fans. And when you're the champs, you're going to attract more of those people that were like, Pats fans before, and now they're Chiefs fans, and, or they were Rams fans because they won the Super Bowl, and now they're Chiefs fans. It's about our Bucks fans or whatever the case may be. Like you said, when you get more bandwagons, those tend to be the more annoying fans, and so it's just a side effect of success, really. So not much. Hopefully that's. I mean, I don't want those fans, but I mean, at the same time, you got to know that if we win the Super Bowl, we're gonna get some too. So it's just the way it goes. Come home full of piss and vinegar. Get this game on so I can rub it in his face. There you go. Get him. James is on one here. Keep it civil. Yeah. Got to show
Man, that's really
respect.
funny.
Ran over. What news we got? Well, there's that news about the practice field being a shambles for the 49ers, and
Oh man.
it's
Yeah.
it's
I'm
it's a
like,
bummer.
I'm so over it, man. Because like, look, when we had to when we had to practice at Arizona State's facility last year, while the Eagles got the Arizona Cardinals practice facility, got to use their facilities, like nobody said anything. So it's like, it is what it is, man.
Yeah, I hear you there. Although I guess they asked if the Chiefs could alter their schedule a little bit so that we could both use, the Raiders facility, and they said no. But I don't want to beat it to death. It's unfortunate. Hopefully they'll get it sorted out here. We still got a few days to practice, so hopefully they'll figure out some sort of solution that allows us to do it safely.
And my thing is this, like, I feel like one of the representatives, I mean, from you guys' organization, like, I mean, y'all could have went out there like, well, like soon as y'all made the soon as y'all officially made the Super Bowl, like this could have been planned ahead. You know what I'm saying? Because you never know what could happen. You know what I'm saying? Just to make sure that the field was straight. Before guys got on there and practice and stuff. So I mean, that's just my thing with it. But hey,
There you go. Well, yeah, like I said, I don't want to belabor the point or beat it to death or anything. It's a little frustration, but I figure they'll figure something out to where it'll work. Um, let's see here. Um,
but I want to go back to James' comments though, man, because like what he said kind of remind me of last night with the opening night, Super Bowl opening night, and how a lot of you guys pulled up, man. I heard a lot of you guys than us. It felt like because you heard a lot of boos, man. Like whenever Travis Kelce got on the mic, when Patrick Mahomes got on the mic, it was a lot of boos. And Travis said, "Man, y'all got me fired up, ready to play right now." So he was jumping up and down and everything. So like, yeah, man, we really became the villains all of a sudden. Like people really hate us now, you know?
well, they say you haven't arrived until you have haters. So, that's that. The Chiefs are the best team over the last 5 years, and You could argue that the Niners are the second best. We're just haven't won a ring, but other than that, being in the NFC Championship 4 out of the last 5 years, it's a pretty big accomplishment, and going to that one Super Bowl against y'all. Um, part of it is Niners fans booing, but part of it is just all the other fans that you guys have beat, whether it's Bengals fans, Bills fans, like you said, Jaguars, whatever, the Ravens, whatever the case may be, because the Super Bowl does get a lot of fans there from other teams as well too. A lot of just football fans go where they book their tickets before they even know who's in the Super Bowl sometimes. So, oh, I can kind of see where that comes from. People are tired of the Chiefs. Taylor Swift, let's face it, doesn't help anything. I saw a buddy of mine texted me about Patrick Mahomes Sr. and the DUI as third offense, and he said, "Oh, he'll do anything to get out of spending time with Taylor Swift or something like that." That's pretty bad, but bottom line is, I I don't mind her. I don't mind her painting her. I think it's nice that they have a relationship. Um, she's incredibly successful, and it's too bad that people hate on it so much. But what are you going to do? It's again, you haven't made it unless you got haters, and so she's got her haters. And I think part of it is a political thing, obviously. And I try just to stay out of all that stuff as much as possible.
Yeah, allegedly it's a political angle, but man, who the heck knows? It's my thing is this, like I don't mind Taylor being a part of this. I don't mind Taylor going to Travis Kelsey. I don't mind her going to the game, supporting the team. It's the media that's killing me, man. Like, a part of the media that I've disliked, man. Like, they done allegedly had people ask they barbers to get the Travis Kelsey cut. I'm like, man, it's just a fade, man. And it's like kind of like a military style cut. I'm like, the Travis Kelsey. I'm like, what are we doing, man? Like everybody, like it don't matter what race or color you are. I mean, everybody done got a fade. Like, and then with Taylor Swift, like when we was doing the swag surfing, players asked for that song to come back just to get them hyped up again. Defensively and offensively, everybody on the team get hyped up and everything because we kind of needed a spark because we was kind of going through a bumpy road at the time and everybody got involved all of a sudden when we started winning again. And you see Taylor Swift and you see Mama Kelsey, everybody doing a swag surf, and then they try to gentrify that and say that Taylor Swift's craziness, the Taylor Swift hype and her crazy move, or I forgot how they worded it, but it's like no, that did not come from her. No, that came from Atlanta like about 5 years ago. Let's stop that. That's my issue. It's not her. It's the media
There
when it
you go.
comes to cover.
Yeah, no, media can be terrible, especially all the ones picking the Chiefs to win. I mean, come on, they're awful. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. I understand that thing because also a lot of times people will look at the matchup and they'll just say, well, it's Brock Purdy against Mahomes, and how could Brock Purdy possibly beat Mahomes? But they forget that Purdy has the Incredibles as his weapons, and Kelsey's incredible. But then after that, it's a pretty big drop off to Rashee Rice, and then pretty big drop off from there on down. Other than like we said, Noah Gray and Blake Bell are good tight ends, but as far as receivers go, like you said, there's a lot of drops. Um, Especially, I guess we should talk a little bit while we're talking about that about Kadarius Toney. He's been cleared to play. Um,
Man.
I mean, I quote tweeted it and I said that's subtraction by addition, just because I feel like he's just a big liability if he's playing offense. I mean, I guess he'll probably be doing a lot of kick and punt returns instead.
Yeah, I think Dato said there's a possibility he could do punt returns, but Kadarius, man, what he said on the microphone last night at opening night, I mean, he went a little far talking about he believes he can be number one receiver. Like I understand the confidence, but it's after the fact. After he said he believes he can be number one wide receiver if he can get the ball. It's like, look, bro, we gave you opportunities at the beginning of the year. You was dropping the ball and then letting interceptions, and you was part of the reason why we lost like 2 games because you dropped the ball.
I
So
saw the Lions
you
game
talking
for
about
sure. and the
Yeah,
drop that turned
yeah,
into an interception, and then two other big drops in addition to that. So I'm with you there, 100%.
yeah. And like that New England game, like that was pretty much the last straw when he dropped the ball and it led to another interception. And you saw Patrick on the sound like getting frustrated, saying, "We can't do that. We can't do that." And that was it for Kadarius right there. So
Yeah, and then McCole Hardman's back. I thought that might be big, especially
yeah,
because of last year against us. He had the three TDs on the goal line with the jet sweeps. He just destroyed us. But credit to this guy right here, CB Nuttree Curtis. When the move happened, he's like, I can't believe they're bringing back Mecole Hardman. He's not going to make any difference. And I don't think I said anything to him, but I'm pretty sure I bookmarked it because I'm like, oh, I can't wait to come back to this. I didn't, sometimes I'll say this will be fun to come back to. I don't think I did that, but I was secretly thinking it. This will be fun to come back to, and you pretty much nailed that one, Curtis. So good call there. As far as Hardman, I guess he had some mistakes. Was the last week against the Ravens or 2 weeks ago against
man,
the Bills?
Cole hasn't had great reviews at all this playoffs. Like the
Yeah,
Miami game, he had a hard time tracking deep passes, or for some reason he'll give up on a route. And it's like, dude, what are you doing, man? Just run through it.
right.
Like all you do is run underneath the ball, man.
Yeah,
And then
especially with all that speed.
like he posted like one of the worst stat lines I've seen in my life. He had like 2 catches for -2 yards, and he had a rush for like 2 yards and a fumble. It was wild. It was one of the wildest stat lines I've seen from a receiver in a long
Zero
time.
net yards on three passes with a turn or three touches with the turnover.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
that's
was
not
it was
good.
terrible. And
That
then the
is.
Ravens, he barely even played in the Ravens game, and it was probably a result of that Bills game. So
There you go. Well, James was bemoaning how, strange how now we've turned babyface in a week. Everyone wanted us to lose last week to the Lions. Yeah, I mean, the Lions have never been in the Super Bowl. A lot of people want to see them go. I get that. And that's where we were the bully. But now, as Curtis pointed out, we were Goliath against the Lions. Now, I'm not going to say we're David against the Chiefs, but at least maybe the quarterback room is. And so, and a lot of people are just tired of seeing the Chiefs win. So we get that group of people rooting for us. But like I said against the Lions, I don't care who's people are rooting for. Just give me the win, give me the ring. Um, because the rooting doesn't really make much difference unless it's really loud at the Super Bowl and can make life harder on Mahomes when he's on offense. Other than that, I don't really care who's rooting for who. All that doesn't really, it didn't bother me that we were kind of like hated against the Lions. It doesn't really make me feel good that people are rooting for us against the Chiefs. Like I said, unless we win it all, then I'm like, great, I'm glad that happened. But I don't think it has that much influence. James
yeah,
says Tony won't seal the field. He crapped his own bed and then he pissed off Big Red. That's a no for sure. You don't want to make Andy Reid mad. That's for damn sure. You might eat your burger and fries. I love those commercials. The Mahomes where he's like, they're explaining the bundling, and he's like, "Oh, how about your nuggets?" I don't know. As a big guy, I can relate to that. So,
yeah.
um,
I remember the kid Jeremiah last night. He asked him, "Is there a food that you don't like and why?" And Andy Reid was like, "I'm game for anything, just not livers." That's the only thing he said. He don't like livers, but he's game for everything else.
they're good if they're done right. With some breading and some herbs and spices on them. I remember KFC sold chicken livers back in the day, fried chicken livers,
They
and they were
did.
they were pretty decent actually. But it's an acquired taste for sure, and a lot of people don't care for it. I get it. Um, but
I'm more of a business guy, so
there you go. Makes sense. Um, Red Jet says this chat equals chippy much. LOL.
Red Jet, it's been chippy all week, man.
It's starting to heat up. Last week, I was saying like, man, Chiefs fans must be scared because normally I hear a lot from them and I haven't heard a thing, and now it's starting to heat up. So I guess it was just too early last week. This week we're getting a little more saltiness, bitterness, acrimony. There you go. Got to deal with the salt. Yeah. Um, just use water. Problem solved. Uh, These guys are funny. Yeah. Well, drama can be fun too. It's good to get it out. I mean, this is for a huge deal. It's a legacy game for everyone. I was saying last off season that Kyle was Andy Reid or Andy Reid was Kyle, I should say, until he got Mahomes. And maybe Mahomes can be, or Mahomes, Brock Purdy can be Kyle's Mahomes. I don't know. We'll see. I mean,
Mhm.
Kyle definitely trusts him more than any QB here in San Francisco, maybe as much as MVP Matt Ryan back in Atlanta 2016.
So, like in regard, you mentioned about last year's matchup, right? When we played y'all at home, or we played y'all in your place. You mentioned about the jet sweeps. You guys had a real time with that. Another thing I saw with that game is we attacked Nick Bosa with screens, and he attacked his over aggressiveness. Like we used his aggressiveness to his disadvantage. So, like, as that, do you think Nick Bosa himself, or just anybody from the defense line, has learned from that? That possibility that we might be able to bring it out again if he gets a little aggressive like he did the last matchup.
I would just say that Bosa and Mooney Ward were both playing with pulled groins during that game, so neither was 100%. That will help us. Dre Greenlaw got injured in the second quarter and missed the whole
Yeah.
second half.
Hmm.
That should benefit us. Uh, Jimmy Ward was playing his first game of the season, and he was playing with a club on his hand. That should benefit us, even though he's not here anymore. But that was a big impediment. And as far as his aggressiveness, part of that was D'Amico Ryan's scheme, and now Steve Wilkes is playing a little bit of a different scheme. He likes to default to more of like almost a quasi prevent defense, playing off ball, which I don't like. I definitely want to see us more on ball, more man coverage and stuff like that. But uh, long answer is that. Short answer, I think Bosa will be a little bit better, but I think Andy Reid will still find ways to do something somewhat similar and take advantage of him a little bit, just because we have a very highly paid defensive line, but he's the only superstar on the D line. Hargrave hasn't really played up to his 19 million. Armstead is still kind of working back from an injury, so we'll see if we get the 100% Armstead. We haven't really seen him yet this playoffs. And then Chase Young, we call him Jog Young now. He is not doing
Oh
great
man.
things. He's kind of overrated. I kind of thought so when we got him. Um, and he did a few good things here and there. The defense definitely improved when he got here, but part of it was benching Isaiah Oliver. Part of it was moving our corners up to closer to the line of scrimmage. Part of it was moving Steve Wilkes down from the booth to the sideline. Part of it was definitely Chase Young too. He's definitely helped. It's just not as much as people think when they think about like Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa, Chase Young at Ohio State. Chase Young, number 2 overall pick, just the way Nick Bosa was. But I don't think he was ever going to be Nick Bosa, even without the ACL, and he tore his ACL. And he just kind of doesn't really have a lot of moves in his repertoire. He's kind of a bull rush guy. He's not really much of a speed rusher. He hasn't really taken it to the next level since he's been in the NFL. And so I think it's going to hurt him next year or this year, as a contract year for him. So I don't think he's really done much to assure a big contract when he leaves, because I don't think he'll stay unless stays for cheap. So we'll see.
It definitely looked bad, man. When Gibbs scored that touchdown, man, he just jogged and he just reached for no reason. Like he reached out with his left hand. I'm like, what you reaching for? You already not making an effort on the play anyway. And I was just like, wow, man. If he's doing that, then we need to attack his side.
Yeah, I think you might even see Randy Gregory start on the edge, and we might bring in Chase Young more for passing downs. I don't know. We'll see. So maybe Randy Gregory in the base package, and Chase Young and nickel. I don't know. That might be an answer, but I mean, he did. To his credit, he did have 2 or 3 big run stuffs against the Lions later in the game,
Mhm.
and he did against the Packers. they did the fourth down in short QB push play, and Philly they call it the brotherly shove. Packers people I had on told me they call it the love shove. But he did foil that and keep them from converting. So I'll give him props on those. But for the most part, he's been a little bit of a liability in the run game, just from mostly from going after the QB and not maintaining his edge integrity. So
Yeah, just a lack of consistency, basically. So,
James is saying why was Big Red answering more question about food than football last night? Who's asking
well,
questions
it was
about?
well, James. You know how I go with Super Bowl media night. The media it's all kinds of different media. They're gonna be asking all kinds of questions, and some of them are crazy. That's just how it is every year at the Super Bowl and media day.
There you go. James is heading out to get some food, some munch. Enjoy. Yeah, it's getting to be about dinner time. Coming up on
All right,
6
man.
in the UK. Thanks for joining, James. We appreciate it. Jared Jet says, I'm 44. I haven't seen Chips since 95. I was 15. Note the context. Yeah, I was 25. So I'll be 54 later this year. So there you go. It's been a while for sure. And I'm ready. I wanted to go all in this year. I wish we had done more, honestly. But hopefully it was enough. We'll see. That play will be banned this offseason. Oh, the brotherly shove. I don't know. I mean, if Jason Kelsey retires, can anyone do it the way the Eagles have done it? And even the last time the Eagles did it, it failed, right? Against the Bucks in the wild card game, where they got sent home one and done. They tried it and it failed. I mean, granted, one of the guys, pulled Jalen Hurts' face mask, but
Face mask. Yeah.
I think the play was already over when that happened. I think that was incidental. I don't think it was. I think that was more like correlation. Like it happened, but it wasn't. They didn't stop him because of it. I don't think so. I think it was already stopped. Chris says, "God, you're all time." Yeah, I'm all for. Well, you can't be too young and have seen all 5 Niners Super Bowls live and have been to all 5 parades. So, hoping to go into the 6th one this Tuesday. Next Tuesday, a week from today. I don't know if that's exactly when it'd be, but probably Tuesday or Wednesday. Hopefully down Market Street in San Francisco would be pretty epic. We are so ancient. Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. Some people say old school. I'm like, no, I'm just old. Goodell doesn't like the play. That's important. He is the commish. So Curtis is almost 40. There you go. So do you have a prediction for the game, Chuck?
Oh, so I don't know. It seemed like you kind of cut out there.
Oh, I
Repeat
was
that
asking
again.
if you had a prediction for the game.
Oh, I'll say you back.
Yeah, I should be.
All
Can
right,
you not
cool.
hear
I think
me?
I see you again. Yeah, I can see you again. Repeat the question one more time.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. I was asking if you had a prediction for the game.
Oh yeah, definitely. I definitely do have a prediction for the game. I think it's gonna be a little more high scoring game than what people think. Now, granted, Steve Spagnuolo, he's been a hell of a wizard all season long. Defensively doing his thing. Like we haven't given up 30 points to anybody all season long. But I do think points are gonna be scored this game. I think it's first to 30, and I just feel confident that we can do that. I think it's either going to be, let's say, 34, 28, 31, 21, somewhere in that range. So it'll be like maybe a 6 point to 10 point victory in a sense. I mean, that's how I'm looking at it. And I
There you
just
go.
think that I think it's gonna be close. It's not gonna be a blowout by no means. Like I think it's gonna be close to like 3 quarters, and in the fourth quarter, that's when PM15 gonna make the plays. 87 gonna make the plays, and then like Spags, man, he's gonna make the necessary adjustments, and Brock Purdy, this first time being on the stage. I mean, that's when pressure burst Price. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like a fourth quarter backbreaking interception is gonna happen in our favor. That's just how I look at it, and that'll be the difference.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Purdy throw an interception at all. With what a great pass defense the Chiefs have. Um, Curtis is saying, "Don't take the bait. Don't do it."
He asked for a
Totally not.
prediction.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I I said I didn't think that either team would score 30, but I think you're right. First to 30 would win in that case. I'd started out saying 24-21 Niners winning, but then I was like, oh, that means Moody field goal maybe at the end. I'm like, I don't like that. So I've been saying 21-17, but maybe I need to change it back up. Maybe you're right, because no one scored 30 against the Chiefs, but we're also the number 2 offense, arguably number 1 offense in the league. And maybe it should be like 28-24. I don't know. I'll finalize it for my article, but I'm going to give that some thought on your recommendation there, Chuck. Maybe 21-17 is just too low, right? And
Yeah,
I don't
I
like
think it's a little high.
24-21. 28 gets us no field goals. I like that. Because like I said, we don't really trust Moody. He's had some issues this season. Even when he was making them, they didn't look good. So if it comes down to that, we're all going to be. Now, here's a funny thing. Somebody was kind of baiting us in the Niners, Twitter. And he said, it's Niners had the ball on the 41 and 8 seconds to go, down by 2. How do you feel? And I think he was trying to get us to say, oh, I'm crapping my pants because it's Jake Moody going to be kicking the game-winning field goal, attempting the game-winning field goal, right? But honestly, like, if you're like me and you've been saying all along that you think this is kind of like a coin flip anyway, like the really evenly matched 2 great teams, could come down to who has the ball last or who makes the last stop, but I think it'll be a close game. Then honestly, like, I think even as much as I doubt Moody, I think his chances of hitting like a 58-yarder are much higher than 50%. So I kind of like our odds in that situation. So anyway, that's just a funny hypothetical that I saw out there on the timeline.
So you're more confident in a long distance field goal than 40 something yards or 30 something yards?
No.
If that's
I mean in general, in any
oh,
given field goal, I trust Moody to make it way over 50% of the time, even a long one. And so if I only had the game at 50-50 to begin with, and I feel good. I feel better about that than I did going into the game, essentially. I mean, I would feel best about the game if, like, for handing off to Christian McCaffrey on the goal line to end the game. But, you don't always get what you want. That's for sure.
I'm gonna ask you this about Purdy. I mean, just regards to this matchup, because he faced against the AFC North, and they had the 2 of the top 5 pass defenses this season. And oh my goodness, get out of here. But anyway, yeah, Cleveland and Baltimore, they was 2 of the
It's
top 5
Net
pass
Free
defenses this
TV if you
season.
need to find them.
And like Purdy didn't do too well in both of those matchups. But I know we fit that mold. I know we like 3rd in per drop EPA. We're 3rd in success rate, 4th in explosive pass rate, and 2nd in pressure rate this season. I mean, do you have concerns about Purdy going against another top 5 pass defense?
Yeah, but let me just walk you through Purdy's losses,
Okay.
and you'll see why I'm not as worried as maybe some other people who maybe don't follow us as closely might be. With the Browns, first of all, it was raining, and Purdy is not a foul. He's a fair weather quarterback, not like a fair weather fan, but like when the ball's wet, he has issues with grip and accuracy and velocity. And he struggled mightily during that game, but then he put together a game-winning drive, and Moody missed the second field goal of the game after the game-winning drive, and we lost. So there's also some bad calls towards the end of that game that gave the Chiefs or the Browns, pardon me, the go-ahead in that game.
I
Then
agree.
against the Vikings the next week, it was a back-and-forth game. Purdy goes for a sneak. He gets drilled in the side of the head by the crown of a linebacker or safety's helmet. Gets a concussion, proceeds to throw 2 interceptions after he's concussed. Makes me worry a little bit less about that game. Bengals, Burrow's playing like vintage Burrow, which he really barely did in 2023. He had the calf at the beginning of the season and then obviously the wrist late in the season, and he was out. There were very few games this season where Joe Burrow looked like Joe Burrow. One of them was against us. It was also 6 days after the concussion for Purdy, and I was shocked that he was cleared in the first place, and I don't think he was quite 100%. He had some bad, plays in that game. And the whole time, Debo left the Browns game early, missed the next two losses. Trent Williams played on one leg in the Browns game, missed the next two. Christian McCaffrey left the Browns game and played hurt in the next two with a abductor, rib injury. So those don't worry me that much because of those reasons. And then with the Ravens, he had 4 interceptions, which is incredible, a lot. One was bad. Like we threw it right to Kyle Hamilton. That was on Purdy. The other 3 were all tip balls, and 96 or 97% of those typically fall harmlessly to the turf. But somehow all 3 got intercepted for Purdy. And one of them even, the DB came through Kittle's back, and it was an uncalled DPI, in my opinion. And it reminded me of another uncalled DPI, and it's oddly enough the same ref that is going to be there this week, Bill Vinovich, same ref before, same ref that was there for the Rams and the Saints when the Saints guy got drilled by the Rams DB, and probably the most famous DPI non-call in NFL history. And so, anyway, I don't want to get into too big a deal with the refs because I know we cried a lot about it after the Super Bowl, and no one wants to feel like that's why they won. Least of all me. Like I told Alex yesterday, Collins, I said, if we win and it seemed like it was because of bad calls, I'll be the first to say it. That's not how I want to get our 6th ring. But I just hope, like I said, all these things. I hope we have a good game. I hope we have no injuries. I hope no bad calls, and that's kind of unrealistic. So at least if there are bad calls, I hope they even out. And but so the Ravens, I wasn't that worried about it if we faced the Ravens. I thought we would have a tougher time beating the Ravens than the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, but I thought we could do it. I would probably pick us against them also. But I did want the Chiefs because, while both were revenge games, obviously we lost the Ravens in 2012 in the Super Bowl, you guys in 2019. Flacco's gone. There's nobody left there except for John Harbaugh. Whereas you guys still have Andy Reid, you got Mahomes, you got Kelsey, you got Chris Jones. I guess Niang was technically a Chief back then too. But nonetheless, it seemed like more fresh revenge. And so, that's what I'm hoping for. But, Chiefs are hell of a team, hell of a defense. Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL, one of the best all time. Kelsey is Hall of Fame, instant, up there, one of the best all time. So it's obviously not going to be easy. And I wouldn't be shocked if it went the other way.
Yeah, and I want to address Kurt's comment. Yes, we did just only give up 10 points to the Baltimore Ravens last week, and they was number 1, different categories and stuff. But I just feel like we've seen the Ravens do that before in the playoffs, like where they'll panic and then they'll get out of their way with their game plan. Like they'll forget that they have running backs and they'll try to have Lamar Jackson do everything. So we won the psychological warfare in that aspect. I feel like the Niners, they're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna panic like that. I think they're gonna more so stick to their game plan throughout the course of the game, unless they just get far behind, in which I doubt. Which I doubt is gonna get ugly at any point in the game. So.
Yeah, no, the Ravens only had 6 handoffs to running backs against you guys, and that was out of character for them. I'm not sure where whoever said that got number 1 offense. So I thought the Dolphins were number 1 and we were number 2. But
Dolphins is up there too.
I think we could say MVP Lamar because I think he'll probably win the MVP.
Mm-hmm.
And they definitely flourished with Greg Roman gone, not being there. I thought it's funny that Harbaugh just hired him for the Chargers. Poor Herbert. That's a bummer for him for sure.
Yeah. Free Justin Herbert.
I'm not a big Greg Roman fan. He was our OC when the Ravens beat us in New Orleans in the Super Bowl. and famously, had like 3 passes to Crabtree when we should have given it to Frank Gore on the
Mhm.
5. It was crazy.
Mhm.
Kurt says definitely pick 'em. Rick Diaz in the house. Welcome. Niner Empire. Good afternoon. There you go. Uh, let's go Niners. Absolutely. There you go. Yeah, I get that. The bottom line is Kyle kind of forgot to do what got us there in the first Super Bowl. Our running backs were running well. Debo was averaging something like 16 yards a reverse, and we did none of that in the fourth quarter. So hopefully Kyle doesn't forget again, because he kind of did that time. Stick with CMC, run the play action. And it's tough to do if you're down by a lot. So if you guys get an early lead, that could be trouble, because we are not a drop back passing team. We don't have a drop back passing O line, and Kyle doesn't really call the greatest drop back passing plays. His stuff is based off of play action and motion, and all that window dressing doesn't work if there's no threat of running it. So um, it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's funny because like Tyron Matthew used to play for us. He said after the game like he was surprised that y'all stopped
he
running the
said,
ball.
"Yeah, thank goodness.
Yeah,
You guys put the ball in Jimmy's hands, because we couldn't stop the run." Yeah, no, it was crazy. No, none of us could understand it, and hopefully we don't see that again. Uh, yeah, I don't remember what Baltimore's offense was, but I'm pretty sure it was not even top 5. I don't know, but I guess we'll see. I guess I could look it up real quick. Top NFL.
but I just know they did something similar in 2019 when they was number 1 seed that year, and
Oh yeah, they're playoff chokers. Absolutely, Lamar's now 1-4 in the playoffs. No argument here for that, for sure.
hmm
Where did that go? All right, so NFL.com says, no, that can't be right either. Oh, that's just for rushing. Ah, I need something comprehensive here. Postseason, no. Dolphins, Niners, Lions, Bills, Cowboys, Ravens, 6. That sounds more like it to me.
okay,
And it's still not shoddy or bad or anything.
hmm
But and you could say they're probably a little bit better than 6, because Mark Andrews missed a big chunk of the season, and I don't even know if when you watched the game more than I probably did. What did you think of Mark Andrews in that game? Did it look like he was 100%?
nah, and I knew they was gonna limit him because like yeah, it's been a long time since he played,
Yeah,
and honestly, like when he went out, I think the Ravens offense got better. I feel like Isaiah Likely was more of a threat down the field, and I feel like they got a little better when he was out there. Just from that aspect, and that's not taking away anything from Mark Andrews. He's still one of the best tight ends in the league. But Isaiah Likely, his ability to run down the field, and he's just faster than Mark Andrews, and I think it was more of like an opposing threat to defenses, and it definitely helped out the wide receiver room in that aspect, just because his ability to run down the field. So
fourth ranked O line. Yeah, they did have good O line, no doubt about it. It's just they were kind of lacking for weapons, right? They did have Isaiah Likely. They did. Zay Flowers was really good, but after that, you start to run out. And once Mark Andrews was out, you start to run out of guys. They had Bateman, they had OBJ, but come on, OBJ. He's not doing a ton at his age after 2 ACLs in the same leg.
yeah, he can't
Uh,
separate anymore. Like after that second ACL injury, like you can tell his separation is gone was gone. Cause
yeah,
like when McDuffie was on him, like McDuffie was on him like rice, man, white on rice, man. So
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. Um, so you were saying, go ahead and you wanted. Did you want to promote your show? You said you got a show coming up Thursday as well.
Yeah, this Thursday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, we should be having Aaron Ladd from KSHB 41 News. He's covering the Chiefs at the Super Bowl right now, so we should have him on for this Thursday. But tomorrow we got to tell the truth with D Mac, DG, who you had on here, and CJ. It'll be those three.
Nice. Outstanding. Got Don't Bother Me in the House. That's Steven. Welcome, Steven. We are kind of winding things down. We've been going for hour 15. I'm not like saying we're ending, but definitely starting to make those noises. Yeah, so I got my usual No BS TED this afternoon with Ryan from No Border Sports. I think we're going to do 4 p.m. today because I'm having we're switching from cable to fiber today, and so and I think that's 2 to 4. So I think we're going to try 4 and see if that works. That'd be 7 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow at 1, we've got Curtis from Nut Tree TV, big time Chiefs fan. He's been here in the chat today. He'll be on Behind Enemy Lines. Just trying to double check that link real quick. Let's see here for the show today. I think Ryan made it for 4, but let me just double check. Come on. Here we go. All right. I guess it doesn't tell me. Well, regardless, we'll just say 4 p.m. for today, and then tomorrow, First and Ted, 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern. So I'll be busy, and then a big one on Thursday morning. Joe Valerio is coming on at 9 a.m. He's a former Chiefs O lineman, tackle, and
Mm-hmm.
he holds the NFL record for most TDs by an O lineman with 4. He caught 3 from Montana,
Yes,
one from
sir.
Steve Bono. So I had him on in the off season before the draft because I'm like, oh, tackle, tight end, we need to draft both. Who better talk to than Joe Valerio? And we end up not drafting either one, of course. But as soon as this matchup was set, I was like, oh, I got to see if Joe wants to come back on. He's a great guy, and so excited about that one. Should be a lot of fun.
You know what's funny? Like I talk to Ravens fans, like we done exchanged talent throughout the years, but us and y'all, we've exchanged talent too throughout the years. Like just like you mentioned with Montana and Bono, y'all had them first, and then they came over here.
Gerback,
Yep, Gerback.
Alex
Oh
Smith,
God, it was Gerback. I don't even want to. I don't want
Steve
to start
Steve
him.
DeBerg before that. Like I've been a Niner fan since '76.
Yeah.
It was Plunkett, then DeBerg, then
Yeah.
Montana, and DeBerg went to Kansas City. So I think that's
Mhm.
like 5 Niners quarterbacks that became Chiefs QBs. It's crazy.
Yeah. Pretty
So if you
wild.
guys want to send us Mahomes anytime, you're welcome to do that.
I think I'll give it Purdy. I think I'll give it Purdy.
I love Purdy, but come on, let's be real. He's not Mahomes. That's what I said. Like when people call me a hater, I'm like, no, I don't hate. I don't hate Purdy. I hate the hyperbole. I hate people saying Montana, Steve Young, Brady, Mahomes. Like he's not those guys. Maybe Montana someday, but I just I don't see it. Not yet. He's got a lot more comebacks, a lot more clutch wins, 4 rings, no interceptions thrown in the Super Bowl. It's tough to push Montana off Mount Rushmore for sure. So, anywho, let's see here, AJ Jenkins. Oh man,
Oh God.
don't do it. Stop. Sheesh.
Man.
We're talking about good players, Steven. Good players. We got Brian Culp in the house. Make sure you check him out. He's got his own channel. So does his wife Tony. They're doing great stuff. Go Niners. Absolutely go Niners. But I think we are kind of wrapping up. So I'll just say thanks to everybody who stopped by today. And thanks obviously to Chuck. You can find them at CPen for the win. Also at Kingdom Cast with a K.
2Ks.
2Ks. All right. Yeah, well, I meant, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Cast in the cast. K in the
Yes.
cast. And
Yeah.
obviously K in Kingdom.
Yeah.
There you go. But yeah, 2Ks. And I'll just say thanks to everybody. Peace and go Niners. You want to give us Chiefs Kingdom or what do you guys
Yes,
like?
sir. Let's go Chiefs.